The Mario universe has had its whole host of developments when it comes to creating new personalities for a lot of the cast. While characters like Mario and Rosalina get the main games, characters like Bowser, Daisy, and Luigi get different spin-offs. Bowser gets the RPGs, Daisy gets the sports games, and most predominantly, Luigi gets the Luigi's Mansion series, cementing him as the brave coward he is seen as today. So when Princess Peach Showtime was announced, I was genuinely curious. After all, the last time Peach had a main role was in a game that is the equivalent of telling your clueless friend, you'll learn when you're older. But beforehand, in the RPGs, when she was playable, she was a capable fighter who knew when to put her foot down, likely because of the more complex plots than the damsel in distress platformers. This is the first game that defines Peach's character in her own merits and terms without having to rely on a womanhood joke, similar to how Luigi's Mansion defined Luigi's character to come in the rest of the games. 4 months after release, with 2 playthroughs in my back pocket, I'm back from the theater. So is Princess Peach Showtime an absolute showstopper worthy of the spotlight? Or is it as disappointing as a matinee of a high schooler's first crack at Shakespeare? After the hype died down, is Princess Peach Showtime good? The story is set up similar to Luigi's Mansion in structure, except Mario's not involved. Peach gets invited to a theater for a brand new performance, and when she gets there, an evil group called the Sour Bunch, led by Madame Grape, who can best be described as we have Milady from Persona 5 at home, whisks everyone except for Peach out of the theater and takes over the plays, trying to write tragedies to counter the Thieves' hopeful plays. A guardian ribbon by the name of Stella teams up with Peach, giving her the ability to use Sparkle, which makes the Thieves in need happy and chases away the Sour Bunch enemies. Along the way, Peach saves the Sparklas that are the actual stars of the respective shows by dressing up as the respective Sparklas, and tackling the challenges placed ahead of her. The story is about as simple as it gets. Bad guy exists, gotta stop him. But story is very rarely the focus when it comes to Mario games outside of the RPGs. So how is everything else? The game is an experimental action-adventure game that can best be described, as many online have pointed out, Balan Wonderworld but actually good. Although it's more comparable to a classic point-and-click adventure game with more traditional gameplay elements. The game structure is split into 3 acts, in which the first act is running around as regular Peach, solving some problems by giving Zoloft to everything that is good, and literally upstaging the Sour Grapes before getting your power up, ranging from action-heavy ones, like Sword Fighter and Mighty Peach, to more slow-paced ones, like Detective and Figure Skating Peach. Act 2 throws you into fixing another issue with slightly more intricate mechanics, and Act 3 is you saving the Sparkle in question, and with their help, escaping whatever void Grape put them into. In each stage, you have Sparkle Gems to collect, and ribbons to unlock new dress designs for Peach, and ribbon designs for Stella. The powers themselves are the stars of the show, and range from incredibly fun to play around with to a bit disappointing. You have stellar powers, like Ninja and Mass Thief Peach, that allow for some creative uses of the powers to try and blitz through levels or get Sparkle Gems. You have some solid ones, like Detective Peach, that revolves around you solving puzzles, either through talking to people and seeing who's lying, or some spot the difference puzzles. And then you have some very weak ones, like Patissier and Mermaid Peach, which felt more like minigames than levels. While yes, it does get a bit more tough when trying to 100% a level, even then the game is very easy and forgiving. The timings for attacks and special commands are very lenient, allowing for a lot of enemies and bosses to be bested with ease. Similar to Mario Odyssey, there is no life counter, making death little more than a setback. While it works better in Mario Odyssey's case, since there you have freedom to be experimental with the sandbox and Mario's acrobatic movement, Showtime doesn't benefit from it. As mentioned before, each level has Sparkle Gems and ribbons to get, but unlike traditional difficulty scales, the Sparkle Gems become easier to get as the stages go on. Stage 1 has 10 gems to collect, and most of them are hidden. Stage 2 has 7 gems, and a good chunk of them are hidden. And Stage 3 has 5, and they stop being hidden, as most of them are gotten by progressing in the level. The ribbons remain tricky to find, and will cause the most amount of restarts in the game. But, as mentioned before, the game is very easy and forgiving. That's not to say this is a bad thing, as for a more experimental melting pot of a game, it fits very well. As mentioned before, the costumes are a mixed bag, and makes the package weaker as a result. The best example I can give is Mermaid Peach, where it feels like it was both their first idea for a costume, and yet the last idea in terms of the actual gameplay, because of how obvious the idea of Mermaid Peach is, and yet how repetitive the controls and the puzzles are for Mermaid Peach. I find that a good chunk of the costumes are at least okay, because they don't overstay their welcome, and some like Kung Fu Peach are very flowing and fantastic in terms of control and level design, but not every costume is created equally. One of the spots where the game absolutely shines is the charm. The stage theming is played up to an 11, from the props being made of materials such as wood or cloth, to how anything that is a bigger prop or is meant to be floating is hung with fishing wire, to the extra bonuses that are gotten after posing on certain spots take you underneath the stage, akin to being backstage, with the music being muted, to them instilling certain effects, looking like a projector running the video. Each set of thieves are distinct in costumes and have slight personality alterations. And each of the sparkles are given slight speech alterations, alongside wearing an almost identical outfit to Peach, with a sparkle gem as a brooch. So much care was put into making everything thematically appropriate, and even on this second playthrough, I noticed a lot of new details. Peach's costumes also cleverly work in the earrings and brooch combo, such as how Cowgirl Peach is given silver hoops, and the brooch is used to hold her bandana in place. And they didn't skip on regular Peach either. Throughout the levels, the pink ribbons you pick up give Peach's dresses a new pattern. There are also dresses that you can buy, and the shop gets updated as you beat bosses, or beat the final acts of a play, and there's a few tied to collectibles. The dresses range from really cute or really cool, to who let this tailor cook? Stella also gets some colors, but it's unfortunate that Stella doesn't get any designs on the ribbon. However, my biggest mixed feeling is that Peach's personality also changes with each costume. It fits since the whole game's a sampling platter of a bunch of different gameplay styles. Peach's personality can shift to any given role, but unfortunately, it doesn't pull a Luigi's Mansion, since that game established Luigi's general personality to be further refined in any appearance that he has later on, be it the RPGs, sports games, or any sequels of Luigi's Mansion. This could have been Peach's game to set the personality that could have been a standard in future games or sequels. The only time you're normal Peach is during the level selection theater lobbies and the boss fights, and the only thing I can give is that she's determined to help those in need, kind of like how that was Mario's personality for a bit, prior to spin-offs fleshing out some of his tendencies, and those being adopted to further refine in future games. I know it sounds like I'm kind of harping on this point a lot, but it is disappointing that we got another retread of Mario movie Peach, rather than fleshing out this new take on Peach alluded to in Mario Odyssey near the end and fully established in the Mario movie, or making a whole new one. Princess Peach Showtime is the epitome of, there's a lot of clever ideas, but some stuff needed more time in the oven. I enjoyed my time with the game, and the repeat playthrough was nice to be able to pick up on some other aspects of the game's high points. However, I'm reminded of how the game could have been so much more and be an anchor point to Peach's character. The costumes allow for the game to never overstay its welcome, but focusing on so many different types of gameplay and mechanics spread itself a bit too thin, to where the game relies on quantity over quality. If you could find it for $30 to $40, it's not a bad price point to pick it up at, but for $60, it's a steep price to ask for. So, after the hype dies down, Princess Peach Showtime is good.
Well, shucks. Thank you.